What's up, family? It's your boy Daniel James II, and I'm your host right here on Black Voices on the Hill. Black Voices on the Hill is a podcast and radio show for the culture. We center Black lives, we amplify Black stories, and enhance the Black experience at Cornell, Greater Ithaca, and beyond. Black Voice on the Hill topics range from racism, police brutality, sexism, colorism, to Greek life leadership, and white elitism in the Ivy League. Black Voice on the Hill envisions a Cornell that is sensitive to the plight of its Black students, aware of the Black excellence in its college town, and unabashed about them changing the world. We see Black excellence at Cornell. We believe in Black empowerment, and we love the Black experience. Listen, Black Voice on the Hill is brought to you by WVBR News. To see when more new and upcoming episodes and for other Cornell and Ithaca news, be sure to follow us at Black Voice on the Hill on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to our new YouTube channel as well. Follow WVBR FM News on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and visit us at wvbr.com/Black Voices. Be sure to leave us a rating and tell us what you thought of this show, okay? And we air every Friday on wvbr.com at 2 p.m. and the episodes released on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. on all podcast platforms and YouTube as well. Listen, I know that was a lot, but I have a great guest. Woo! I feel the fire in my heart right now. I really do. I have an amazing guest on the show today. Listen, if all I said was she's a Black woman, you should be excited to hear this. Okay, that's all you should be excited about. But she's a lot more than that. She's an ILR fam squad. You know, we gang in the story. There we go.
Of course.
And she is, most importantly and most relevant to us, she is the newly elected undergraduate student trustee, the second Black woman to be elected to that office. I have none other than Miss Selam Woldai. Please say hello to the people, Selam.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm very excited.
Absolutely, Selam. Now, you have a beautiful name. May I ask, do you know what your name means?
And of course I know what I mean.
Okay, come on. Give it to us.
Salam is Arabic and Tigrinya and a few other languages translates directly to peace.
Right. I think I've heard people use that as a blessing before. Like
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Exactly. May peace be with you. Exactly. And it also translates to hello, which can kind of be an inconvenience sometimes, but I love my name. Wouldn't replace it for anything.
Absolutely. No, that is absolutely beautiful. I wanted to ask you that because I know that's beautiful. First of all, congratulations. How do you feel?
Thank you so much. It was very overwhelming at first, I'm not going to lie. But now I feel like the emotions have settled in and I'm honestly just really excited for what's good to come, like for this new chapter to start.
Absolutely. I low-key wanted to ask you sort of about that later in the episode. But just, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but just maybe can you tell us what is the summer? Have they told you what the summer looks like for you as a new trustee? I mean, you know, you're making big decisions. So
yeah. Well, for this upcoming summer, my trustee position actually begins, I want to say June 1st. So this summer is just like me doing orientation meetings and like catching up with the rest of the board members, like catching up with what's going on and just really learning how to properly do my position and what exactly my position entails.
Salam, I'm just so excited.
Thank you so much.
You know, end of story. You would think the way that our community just feels about you representing us, like you would think it was us doing it because it's just, that's how connected we feel to you, your platform, and the promises you've made to us. I want to ask you though, personally, because like you said, emotions get high and low and everything. And, you know, but we've experienced a lot on this campus this year, actually, when you think about it, you're like, well, a lot more than just a pandemic, daily checks, that's the least of our worries, right? We've had, you know, essay student rifts, xenophobia. We've had, you know, student deaths, at least 2 in the past month and a half, I believe it is.
Yes.
Where have you been mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just taking all of that in, and how have you been processing
Yeah. It is a lot to say the least. Especially because of the fact like I'm still currently on the essay. I was on the essay when everything went down. I was a part of the people that were attacked online, not as horrible as it was for the other students, but it still was like a lot to the point where like I did not know how to balance that with finals, and it was a lot to say the least. So like in terms of emotions and how I handled it with everything going on campus as a Black woman, as a Black person, honestly, it's my support network. Like if I did not have my support network here and the Black community here, I don't know where I would be, honestly. Like I'm the type of person where I value my friendships so much because my friends are my family. Like if I don't have them, then I don't think I could like survive college life, or and especially like Cornell atmosphere as well. So on my support network, they were with me throughout the entire thing. Like then for the essay debacle, for everything that's been going on this semester, my campaigning, like honestly, my closest friends, they're the ones who helped me get through it, helped me campaign, helped me try to balance my schedule. Like I'm very, very grateful for them. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome that you have those sort of support networks, and I find it oftentimes, as Black students at a PWI, it can be difficult to find those safe spaces. You've named them, w- and I absolutely love it that you already know that as a sophomore, because I'm probably just getting to the place as a junior where I can name my safe spaces, and that's kind of sad. What happened is, sometimes you just have to take, when you take leadership roles, you sort of have created the safe spaces, right? So I would say the orgs that I'm in sort of would be my safe spaces,
Right,
like
right.
et cetera. So,
Exactly. I feel like I honestly wasn't able to find my safe spaces until this year. Last year was very hard for me, like in terms of trying to find like where I can go just to like let out all my emotions and stuff. But I feel like this year, the only reason I found it stuff so like early, I would say, in my Cornell career is because of the fact I was forced to. Because like I said, if I did not have my support system, I don't like I would not have been able to continue the semester both semesters. So I was forced to find my safe spaces, which is bittersweet in a sense, but I'm still like grateful for that.
no, absolutely. And, when you talk about safe spaces, it makes me sort of think about just what has been your self-care. Some people find their self-care is going to therapy or going to that confident, going to that friend. Some people find, their self-care is, getting yourself, done up, get that haircut, or, hair done, or whatever, you do,
Right.
whatever it is. What has been yours?
Mine, yes. So I'm the type of person where I give off advice on like don't do too much, don't take on so much, protect your mental health, but I struggle taking my own advice. So in terms of self-care, I've been like trying to find a nice balance of it. And I would say like me personally, like if it's a certain time and the point in the night, I refuse to do work anymore. Like I would say around, this might be bad, but around like 12:30, 1 o'clock, like I stop doing work. Like I don't care what the assignment is. Like I need to make sure I get 8 hours of sleep. I need to make sure like I'm like taking care of myself. Um, let's see. I also do, this is something I've been doing since freshman year. Fridays, I give myself the day off. Like I don't like unless I have like discussions, of course, I go to discussion. But after that, I don't do any work for the rest of the day. I make sure like that's my day where like if I want to get my hair done, if I want to look nice and cute, if I just want to like spend the rest of the day in bed catching up on TV shows, I'm going to do that. Like I make sure like I take breaks in my schedule because I know for me personally, if I don't, I will get burnt out very quickly, and then like my work ethic, everything will just decrease a lot. Like I try to look for different ways to practice self care.
Phew. Speaking of, after this, listen, I'm catching up on some shows myself when this is
Mm-hmm.
over, because I think it's very vital, very important to being a student. And sometimes you're made to feel like you don't deserve it, but you do.
Very much so, especially being a Black student, imposter syndrome. It's very like I always feel like taking a break is I shouldn't be taking a break. Like I should always be working. I should always have something to do on my like agenda. And like it was very hard to like stop that internalized like in discussion in my head, trying to like teach myself like it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to like prioritize myself over my work. And that took a long time to like I'm still struggling with that, but yeah.
And you know what I think part of it is, Salam? Like we already a lot of times had to prove ourselves a lot of time to get here. But even being here, that's what imposter syndrome really is. You just feeling like even being here, you're not enough. It's that feeling of not enough. And it's possible there are students that come here as freshmen and leave and graduate as seniors, have the degree, graduate top of their class, and still not feel that they were enough. And it's a wild thing to think about, but often these universities, and then you think about the real world, how it makes minorities feel is that you gotta earn your keep here because
Right.
you're never stable. Like your place is never fixed, you know?
Exactly. Especially like as a first gen student, I feel like it's a lot of pressure added on to me because like I'm first gen. Like my parents they traveled all the way to America just to make sure like I have a better life. So now it's like that added pressure that's like, okay, one, I feel like I don't belong in this space. Two, I have to be amazing while being in this space to like make my family proud. So it's like it's always like an internalized conflict, just trying to figure out like, okay, yes, I belong here. Yes, I don't need to prove my worth to anybody, but also I kind of have to be the best at everything I do. And it's like, where can I find the balance?
Right. And so now you brought up being a first gen student. I know that you were first gen rep in SA. So tell us in what ways, first of all, just define, because we've never really had people would just drop first gen on here, first gen, or they say the low income or first gen or whatever it is. And a lot of times people really don't understand what that classification like even means. So
Yeah.
what does that mean? And then I know what it means, but like what can you give us for you? And then
Yeah.
take us through your eyes of your experience in terms of at Cornell, why, take on the duty of first gen rep, like why is there a need? Why is there a necessity for that?
Right. Also for clarification on the essay, the first gen rep is actually Valeria. I'm the minority student liaison.
I'm sorry.
However,
That's
you're
right.
good. You're
Jesus.
good. But I could continue about this. So being a first gen student, I feel like people don't really realize the nuances that come with it. Because like yes, first generation student means that like my parents didn't receive a higher education, but it's actually way more than that, especially at like an Ivy League institution. So like for example, FAFSA applications. Being a first gen student means you can't ask your parents for help for FAFSA applications. You're kind of expected to do it on your own. You're like, especially like me personally, like my parents are immigrants, so they don't really speak English that well in terms of like reading and writing. So like into the FAFSA applications, every application, I'm the one who has to do it. It's all like placed on me, and I have my sisters for help sometimes, but we all equally don't know what we're doing. So it's like trying to navigate like that. And like being a first gen student means like having to explain every aspect of college life. And like you might just think that's like, oh, okay, so like my major and stuff. I have to really break down what ILR means to my parents. I really have to, they don't really understand what it means, like the curriculum, the academics, like how much work, the workload we get. To my parents, I keep trying to explain this to them too, but like to them, it's like, oh, okay, you go to class, you have homework assignment, you're done for the day. No. I have to explain to them like, no, we have papers quite often, we have exams quite often, pop quizzes, like small things like that. Or like for example, me personally, like when I graduate, I want to go to law school, get a JD. I have to explain to my parents what a JD means. It's like the little things like that. Or like if I get an award or something, they'll be like, oh, great, I'm proud of you. But what does that mean? It's like you have to explain like every single detail. And it's very much like being a first gen student. If you don't have other first gen students, no, it feels like you're very alone because no one else understands what you go through, and no one else understands like all the small nuances that you have to do on your own. And it is very lonely, especially like if you don't have any like siblings who can help you out, or if you don't have any other first gen friends. Because like as much as people like want to say like, yes, I understand, yes, like what you're going through is very hard, you really don't understand like the first gen struggle unless you're a first gen student yourself. But honestly, like to me it's very normalized because it's been like this since forever, like since I've been growing up like in elementary school and everything. Like I'm very used to this, so to me it's normalized. Like to other people it's very like something very brand new.
See, people don't realize the immense privilege you have that students have whose parents just get it, like your
Yeah.
parents get it. I mean, I'm not first gen. My mother does have a master's degree, but you know, even just And I don't have to explain a lot to her, but even college educated people in my family, sometimes you got to explain like, what's that, because they went to, a different type of school, or they just, the type of education, like industrial labor relations, we have trouble knowing what it means sometimes, so how much more a parent
Right.
to go to college, like freshman year, ask me what ILR means. I'm like, well, I go in a roundabout way. And now I can, of course, like say it within maybe one or two sentences. But you can imagine like there's so much lack of access. And yeah, there's an importance for that community. Absolutely.
Very much so. My freshman year, I got the abbreviations wrong. I would tell people I'm IRL, ILR. I would switch it up every day. I never knew what the abbreviation was. I'm not gonna lie. Especially like coming into Cornell when I like first got accepted, I would say the wrong major every time. But I was so confident in myself. So
There we go. Whatever. Listen, RIL.
right.
You're here, and that's what matters,
Right.
right? Tell us. You talked about your beginnings, your parents. I want to know. We've already kind of dropped your ILR now. Okay, we've done that, but like, just give us the basic intro, Salam. Like, just like where you from, what does home mean to you, etc. Like, tell us the roots of Salam pre Cornell.
Right. So my name is Selam. I'm born and raised in New Jersey, from West Orange specifically. And growing up, to me, education was it still is a very, very big deal in my household. Because of the fact, like my parents, like I said, they're immigrants. My dad is a refugee. My mom came to America when she married my dad. And like for them, we come from a small country called Eritrea, and Eritrea is a dictatorship. And at the time when they came to America, it was during war. So they didn't have access to education. They didn't have access to any of those things because when they growing up for them, they only the only options for them was either to fight in the war or to hide in your house and pray that Ethiopian soldiers didn't find you, because they would come up into your houses. And yeah, so you just had to know how to hide well or be ready to fight in the army. So for them, they really, really, really like enforce education on me and my sisters. They would make it very clear that like we have so like an immense amount of privilege. Even though like I grew up low income, Black family, we still knew the amount of privilege we had just like being in America and having access to like this education. So growing up for me, I read so much. I read so many books. I loved learning. I loved going to school. I was a little nerd. I can admit it. Even in high school, I never admit it because of, high school, but I absolutely loved going to school. I loved reading. I loved everything. Cause like in my head, that thought process was ingrained to me. Like having access to education is such a privilege. So that's also why like I'm very in tune with like social justice, and that's why like in the future I want to like pursue that kind of area that field, because of the fact like how I was raised, because of the fact like my own personal backgrounds and everything. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. Are you an overachiever?
I am. I can admit it. I would always add so much stuff to my plate. And it would be like, because one, like, yeah, I'm genuinely interested, but also, like I said, imposter syndrome, like being first gen and a Black person, I always felt like I had to do a lot too.
Beautiful. How did they, you talked about reading a lot growing up. Can you name some of the authors that you really, really inspired?
Oh, I was a huge Harry Potter fan. I was a little nerd. Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, any book series I read. I was right into like dystopian fictions. Like I did not read nonfiction books. Now when I choose my book options and stuff, I mostly read nonfiction. But growing up, oh my God, I love that kind of stuff.
I related with the Percy Jackson. Okay.
Right.
You lost me at Harry Potter. I probably only read 3 Harry Potter books total. I just never like really,
That hurts. That hurts right here.
That world. But I understand it, of course. Like I know it enough, Shout out JK. I also loved, you talk about dystopian fiction. I loved like Peter and the Starcatchers. Like those were like great series to me as well. So I dig that. I dig that. I really do.
Right.
I love it. And now, of course, all I read is nonfiction. So, this is like, that's my life.
Right, right.
Oh, speaking of, well, I'll get to this later. So I saw a post where you were like your senior year of high school. You were New Jersey Student of the Year. How does one become the Student of the Year for an entire state? I just don't understand.
Honestly, I was caught by surprise too. I'm not gonna lie. I very much remember winning the award. I was just so happy because it was
Okay.
2 days before my birthday. So I was like, oh, it was a nice little birthday gift for me too. But yeah, no, in high school I did a lot of initiatives, especially like my senior year of high school. I did a lot of initiatives that gained a lot of recognition from very important people. So I guess because of the fact that like important people recognized the stuff that I was working on and doing, then somehow the state of New Jersey realized.
So let's talk about those initiatives.
Yeah.
So I know you one of them was like you worked with organization called Grassroots Community. Is
Yes.
that correct? Yes. Tell us about just all those initiatives and how they sort of started. What were you championing?
Yeah. So let's see. With Grassroots Community Foundation, that one started the summer going into senior year of high school, actually. Because my junior year of high school, like the very, very under junior year, that's when like I was elected as like the student council president. So then I already like had a bunch of ideas that I wanted to do because I know my high school at the time, student council was very performative. Like it didn't actually do anything. And I hated that so much. I was like, if I'm in this position where I could actually make impactful changes, why not? So I started working with like Grassroots Community Foundation and to start like mental health awareness, to like try to start the initiative in high school level, because a lot of times like I realized like mental health awareness is usually talking about like the more mainstream stuff like depression and anxiety and just dealing with it. But we didn't really, in my high school, we didn't talk about the fact that like doing SAT prep, ACT prep, being just a student in general causes a lot of like anxiety and stress. So I really wanted to like make that very much aware amongst like the faculty members and just administration in general. So I started working with Grassroots Community Foundation to like start a green ribbon week. That's what it was called, for mental health awareness. So the Grassroots Community Foundation, they loved the idea. They started their own Green Ribbon Month, mental health awareness month-long thing. So they did their own initiative with their organization, and they funded our high school's initiative. So like we had stress balls, we had like yoga classes. It was different things every single day for that week. And like the overall main thing was really just to like let faculty know, let administration know that like students, even though we were between the ages of like 14 and 18, we deal with like the same, it might not be on the same level, like in your eyes, of the amount of stress and anxiety that we go through as students. But at the end of the day, in our brains and with our lives, that is the most stress we've ever endured. That is the most anxiety we've ever endured through school. So it was very hard to try to like let adults know that like, yeah, okay, that person's 14, but they can still feel the same way that you do with your workload. And I was just like really trying to break the barriers and like start the conversation about mental health, especially because of the fact it's very stigmatized. No one really likes to talk about having depression, being stressed out, having a lot of anxiety. No one likes talking about that. So I was really just trying to break the barriers in a sense.
Phew. How befitting that you be here during the month of May.
Yeah.
Is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think anxiety is something definitely that we do not talk about. I myself have on the show, had different guests and talked about just my journey with me realizing just how anxious I was, and really anxiety set in for me probably around 11th grade when it came to schoolwork, college time. It's like you always have those loose ends in your life. And I feel like anytime I have loose ends and I don't know what's next, that's when like the season of anxiety always set in my life.
Exactly. When you're not in control anymore. Because I know me too. Like my anxiety, it didn't really process in my head that it was anxiety until like I got to college. But like, I know for me, just like not knowing the future and not like knowing the fact that like I'm not in control of everything that's going to happen in my life, stuff like that is very anxiety inducing. It's very like, whoa, okay. That's why like I try to take those breaks and just remind myself like it's okay that I don't know what's going to come, you know?
No, that's totally good. And I also like that this was from a grassroots community foundation, or at least it's named grassroots, because I think it represents something really important because it's becoming very much a sophisticated topic. And when it moves into like the intellectual and sophisticated realm, again, there's a lack of access to resources, knowledge, but that you did it in a community is really important because I know a lot of people who don't have an education, who are working industrial jobs, working the working class that literally our country's built upon. They are suffering from these issues like most ardently, probably in rural areas and urban settings, and it's important that they have access to these resources like as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And actually, Grassroots Community Foundation, the one that I was working with, their organization is specific for Black girls, young Black girls. They teach them how to feel confident with themselves and also just like different areas of expertise. So like mental health, kind of like a Boys and Girls Club, but specific for Black girls. Yeah. So it's really cute, honestly.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing that you had that experience and that sort of launched you to being in Cornell. Before we, get to Cornell, though, you talked about Black girls, and you've met some pretty amazing Black girls. Okay, I mentioned him earlier, right? But we're not gonna talk about the man. We're gonna talk about
the woman.
I just don't have her book with me, so
right.
that was my entry point. But listen, so I saw a picture of you with Oprah, Michelle Obama, and Gail, the OG, and the M. Like you met all.
It's my lock screen.
It's her lock screen. You're annoying.
It gives me confidence every morning that no.
Just tell me like how and what was that experience like? Like, what do you say? I've been thinking to myself, Daniel, if you could interview Oprah or Michelle, I wouldn't even know what to say.
There's actually a video recording on their website of my reaction, which I would say was quite hilarious. Yes, no, but I could definitely send you that afterwards because there's a whole video of me talking to Miss Michelle Obama and talking to Miss Oprah Winfrey, which it was like so incredibly hard not to cry. Like the only reason I didn't cry is because I was telling myself like, okay, Selam, your makeup looks really good and you're on camera right now. Please don't ruin your makeup, please. Like I was, oh yes. But the reason that I met them was the initiative that I was just talking about, the mental health awareness through Grassroots Community Foundation. So Grassroots Community Foundation, I guess you would say CEO, like the founder of the organization, she has ties with Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey. They're good friends, apparently. Didn't know that. I had no idea initially when I reached out to them. But they were doing a panel for Black girls in high school and about their views on politics and everything. And she reached out to me. She was like, hey, Selam, we need 2 extra girls and I really want you to be a part of this. So I was like, yeah, sure. But when I went in, I had no idea that I was meeting them. When I went in, they told me that you're just doing a panel talking about social justice issues and how it affects you as a young Black woman. So I was like, oh, okay, like I'd love to do that. Then, I got there and like it was at the O Magazine building. So I kept telling my friends, the teacher that I went with, I was like telling her everything. I was like, I'm telling you right now, Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey are going to surprise us. Like, I feel it in my guts. My gut is never wrong. And they were telling me, they're like, Selam, Oprah, maybe. What does Michelle have to do with this? Like, this has nothing to do with her. So I was like, no, y'all, like, I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my gut. Like, it's going to happen. Then they made us like watch this interview between them. To us, we thought it was a pre-recorded interview and they asked us for our thoughts and stuff about Oprah interviewing Michelle Obama. And we didn't know that it was a live recording happening upstairs. We just thought it was pre-recorded. So we had to give our thoughts, whatever. So I go to the camera and I start talking about like, yeah, this is my thoughts on the interview, X, Y, and Z. Then that's when Michelle comes in and like surprises me from behind. And then I got to continue the conversation with her about what I was saying about how my intelligence as a Black woman is very much underestimated by teachers. And that was such an amazing conversation to have with her, like hearing her perspective. I was like, that entire experience was just so heartwarming for me because I looked up to these two women literally since I was like forever. I looked up to Oprah since kindergarten. I looked up to Michelle since Barack was inaugurated. Like I love them so much. So, and hearing how Michelle also resonated with me about like our intelligence being underestimated by teachers, by everyone, it was very heartwarming, very like soothing to me. It was like, okay, if she got to do this and she is where she is today, then why not me? So that moment was like, it kind of like sparked inspiration for me. And it was very, very beautiful. 10 out of 10 recommend.
10 out of 10. 10 out of
10
10.
out of 10.
Oh
10 out of
my
10.
goodness. I just, the beautiful, like that is just gold. That is fire. To have met all three of those beautiful, amazing, iconic Black women in one sitting, I don't know what I would have done. I'm not even a Black woman, and
It was so much. I remember plus when Michelle surprised me, I didn't realize that Oprah was in the room as well. So after Michelle surprised me, I go down to my seat and this woman, she's like standing over me and she's like kind of by my seat. And I was like, please excuse me, like I'm trying to get to my seat. She's like, oh yeah, da, da. And I was like, oh my God, I just gave attitude to Oprah Winfrey. I am so sorry. I regret that moment. But yes, it was very much like as a Black woman, it was just so empowering, just like talking to them, seeing them, listening to what they had to say to us. It was beautiful.
shout out O, shout out Big O, and love on Michelle, shout out, and absolutely awesome. So then you leave. So then why ILR? You talked about ILR, but like why Cornell? Why ILR?
Right. You know those little flyers they send you in the mail from colleges and no one actually looks at them?
Right.
I got one from ILR and I actually read it and I actually looked through it and I was like, wait, I absolutely love what this curriculum has to offer. Because the way that like I perceived it in my head, which it was true, was like, wow, okay, social justice, pre-law, like the amazing opportunities that comes with it. I really fell in love with ILR. Like I thought that was the only decision possible for me. And I actually did ED for Cornell for ILR. So I just genuinely loved like the way that it sounded, the way that social justice. I never was really interested in labor relations. I knew nothing about labor relations until I got to Cornell, like absolutely nothing. But I got lucky and I actually really enjoy what I study. And I really enjoy like the time that I spend here with my academic, well, let me correct myself. The curriculum aspect, I absolutely love and adore. The workload aspect is a different story, but
Oh God, that's a whole different episode.
yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, it was the promotionals. They're doing an amazing job because that was what caught
Yeah.
my eye. Cornell probably came on my radar, and ILR specifically probably my sophomore year of high school. So that's when I sort of started looking at it like, okay, I think this is really one of my options. And then it became
Right.
quickly as I started the college process, it was number one.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess for me, I guess I want to ask you too, like you have, oh my God, I don't know if you hear my doggone sweet mates right now. But anyway, Grace, you can leave this in there. So tell me what you plan to do because you're so ambitious. I mean, I can see Salam like running an NGO. I can see Salam being a criminal justice advocate and attorney. I can see Salam being president. I mean, I just can see Salam doing so much. What are your plans in terms of with your law degree? Where do you plan to go?
First of all, thank you. That actually means a lot. Second of all, it's very funny because with the way that like I am and like what I give off, you would think that like, yes, X, Y, and Z after college, I have everything planned out. I have absolutely no idea what I want to do in the future. Like not a single clue. I just know that I very much want to have my law degree, and I do know like areas I'm very interested in. I really am interested in like NGOs and like working with refugees and making sure like seeing how the international law can affect refugees. And I'm very interested in like human rights law, but I'm also interested in politics. So honestly, I'm the type of person where I believe that like because of the fact that I'm only 20 years old, it's okay that I have absolutely no idea what I want to do for the rest of my life. I like to take it one step at a time. And I feel like that is not really expected of me, but I that's how I roll. I really like to take things one step at a time because I feel like I have so much more areas to grow in. So, and I'm still learning about myself. And I really just want to be able to learn what I enjoy and learn what exactly do I like to do, what do I like to study, and then go from there. Take everything one step at a time. Because I do know for a fact that like what I was interested in when I first stepped into Cornell is so different than what I'm interested in now. And what I was interested in when I was applying for colleges, it changes up very quickly. So because I keep learning more about myself and I keep learning about my different interests and what I like to do and what I don't like to do.
That is okay. That's what I was gonna say. Like, that's okay. Even when I asked the question, I was like, God, it's okay. Like, and even I too, like, I don't know, no. I think I know. I'm
Right.
zooming in on it. I'm narrowing in on it, but I'm not, sure. But you're on the right path regardless. All the great things that you're doing is so inspiring. Listen, I have a question for you. Okay. You talked about just I was asking somebody this today, and I thought it would be a good like just thought question because I think about you and I asked you what you want to do one day, but also like what is the Salam brand? My question, this is the question I want to ask. If you had to be an influencer, what type of influencer would you be and why? Now, mind you, there's a lot out there. You got Tabitha. She cooking. She's a vegan and she's a black woman from the South. You got the fitness gods. You got people, doing all these types of. What would your, what type of influencer would you be, or what would your brand be?
That's a really good question. Um, let's see. What's very Salam? I would say it'd either be something very random and nonsensical, like TV shows. And because like there's a lot of aspects of me that's very random. That's like what, but then there's also aspects of me that like in all honesty, if I did have the opportunity to be an influencer, it'd probably be about mental health in the Black community or just raising awareness for the refugee crisis going on in Eritrea because like those are my roots and I do feel like um the whole reason like my family came to America is because like for better opportunities, but I also like we all know like every Eritrean knows that like since we're such a small country and we don't have like a lot of rights, it's up to us to give back to our country. So I like it does sound like a lot of pressure, but like as one of my first generation American, I do feel like I owe it to my family back in Eritrea to like give back to them. So if I did have the opportunity to be an influencer, that'd either be to help the refugee crisis and or increase mental health in the Black community or combine the two.
We need all of that. By the way, I know you're Eritrean. Tiffany Haddish is Eritrean. Do you know who Tiffany Haddish is? What's your thoughts on her? You like her?
I do like her. She's so cute though, cause like her Tigrinya, she be trying, and it's so funny because her Tigrinya sometimes be so like the language we speak is called Tigrinya. So like she be saying some stuff sometimes that's way off, but like it's okay, it's so okay. All that like every Eritrean, if you are Eritrean in the diaspora, we love you automatically because like I said, there's really so little of us. So if we have representation anywhere, we're gonna love you for sure. Like unless you're a horrible person, we are going to love you. So Tiffany Haddish, mwah, we love her.
Beautiful. Well, shout out to her. Maybe you're gonna be her next. There, any closing words? I flipped it. I flipped it the last two episodes. Any questions or any just closing words you want to send us out with? So,
Closing words. I would say to all the Black women at Cornell, I love you. y'all, I'm always just, I'm a Black woman enthusiast. Y'all are doing amazing. And the Black men at Cornell, y'all are doing great too. I'm just biased, but y'all are doing amazing too. And like just the Black community, I just love the Black community here. Like it's so much support, so much community. It's really like if you really know that you don't have anyone, you know you have the Black community. And I absolutely love that. So shout out to y'all.
Absolutely. And there it is. I absolutely love that shout out too. Yeah. And I absolutely thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for coming. Trustee Woldai, like this is wow. I know in such your busy schedule. Listen, you're running this campus, and I thank you so much for just being here today. And
Oh
I
my
hope
God.
that everybody. Oh yeah,
And I was just gonna say thank you so much for having me. Like I love this whole show. Like I'm so happy to be here.
absolutely. And we thank you for coming. And thank you to everybody listening out there. We hope you are all tuned in and encouraged more now than ever to be engaged and be unapologetically Black, y'all. Okay? Be encouraged to be that and check in on each other. Okay. To see when more new and upcoming episodes of Black Voices on the Hill for other Cornell and Ithaca news, follow Black Voices on the Hill on Instagram. Again, follow WVBR FM News on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And be sure to visit us at our website at wvbr.com/Black Voices. Subscribe to us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast. Listen, y'all can tell Alexa we want to hear Black Voices on the Hill. Tune in right here on WVBR 93.5 FM every Friday at 2 p.m. We'll see you next week. Shout out to my producers, Mike Seitz and Grace Fairchild, and Lauren Thomas, musical director there at WVBR. Peace out.